All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the December 2nd meeting of the Utility Service Board. Our first item on the agenda is petitions and communications. Do we have any public comments? Hearing none, we have yes, we do. We do have a public comment. Okay. We have a resident who has emailed back and forth with Frank and asked that we share this today. Resident Russell Lyons said, the summer rates for wastewater have been June through September, but were recently changed to May through August. My understanding is that this was done because the changing climate has increased earlier planting and filling of pools. Indeed, the climate is increasing the extent of summer weather. However, it is not only that summer weather occurs earlier, it also occurs later. It certainly has not simply shifted earlier. In particular, summer weather still occurs in September, but sometimes also in October, as it did this year with a drought. This year, I used twice my normal amount of water in October due to the drought. Thus, I asked you to once again change the summer rates, but now to include May through September, or even better, May through October. So thank you, Mr. Lyons, and we will take this into advisement. Are there any comments from the board? Yes, Jim.
On the agenda, I agree with the comment.
Put it on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
For like a today or like a later meeting?
Well, I guess, is this decision made, Kat?
What they're asking is to extend the period in which we kind of have our summer rates for wastewater. What we had done is shift it back, but we still kept it to the 3-month period.
Yeah.
What they're asking for is to extend it to another month, and so that would actually have a pretty good impact on our budget.
Yeah, could
Negative impact.
Negative impact, sorry, pretty good negative impact on our budget, yes.
Yeah, could someone give the rationale? I thought June, July, and August
I guess it's 4 months.
is much better than May, June, and July.
Yeah, so we have a 4-month period.
So May, June, July, August? Now,
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought that the June, July, August, September was
Right, that's what it was. It went into September, and then we pushed it back because people were, spring plantings, filling their pools, and so we had a lot of customer input about, hey, we would like to see it pushed back, and so we pushed it back, which is not so bad to do versus extending it.
Sure.
There's less impact for pushing it back versus
Sure.
extending
Right.
it.
I mean, as someone who does the lawn, I find that September is a much more used month than May for water. Because that's when all the things are grown and you're still watering and we have droughts. So anyway, I understand keeping it to 4 months, you're not going to make everyone happy no matter how you do it. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Molly?
Look at numbers of how much water is used, like during those different months.
Sure.
Maybe for the last couple of years, since people might have changed their usage based on the rates.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments on that issue? Thank you. Okay, moving on with the agenda. We have our approval of our minutes from our previous meeting on November 18th. Are there any questions, corrections, or additions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, I'm going to go back to the beginning when I'm going to remind us of our mission. The City of Bloomington's Utilities mission is to enhance the quality of life in our community by providing safe, sustainable, and high-quality drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater services in a cost-effective manner, promoting public health, economic vitality, and environmental stewardship. And as a reminder, if any board member has any personal or financial conflict with any issues or individuals on the agenda, then please be sure to recuse yourself during those portions of the meeting. Now, moving on, we have our standard invoices in the amount of $1,628,141.03. Are there any questions? Okay, well, go down the table this way. Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed the very first item talks about expenses for deciding on the street sweeper routes. Could we see those sometime? I'm just really interested in where they're going to go and what they're going to do and how often. So I would please share them with the board if you could.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can definitely present those. We are working through them now and doing some of the training with the associated software. So we should have a full plan to present by the beginning of next year, like
Okay.
January, February.
All right, please
They have
do
a
that.
deadline of the end of February.
We already see something about the street sweeping plan
Yeah, yeah.
and the routing?
Mhm.
Okay.
So that was kind of an update on the street sweeping, routing, and where we were going and how, like, kind of the logic that was going on behind it. So
Right.
now we've got to the points where we actually have routes. And so we'll present the whole thing once it's all complete.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions on that? Okay, Amanda?
On page 1, I just had a question about the two separate invoices that are there for BBC Pump. They're both exactly the same amount, but different invoices. So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't an error on that. It was kind of a strange amount that they were exactly the same. And then, I'm looking at my notes, where my, thought I had marked another one, but. No, that was the only one. I thought I had marked a second, but no.
Yes, Hector?
Those are two pumps that they are for different lift stations. We just bought it for the same manufacturer, or for the same vendor, but for two different lift stations.
Thank you. So the
So
same
they,
amount?
the same amount, they were
The
just,
same amount, yeah. The
same
pump,
amount,
the
same
model,
product,
the
okay.
same model, yeah, exactly.
it just, they had different descriptions in it, so I was kind of like,
Yeah, I got you.
but thank you, that makes sense.
I have 3 questions. First, on page 1, with A&M Graphics for the printing unknown pipe material service line letters. I've seen things on the news about that in Indianapolis, so I just wanted to maybe have, since that's not come up here at our meetings, give you an opportunity to just share what that's about with our customers, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is part of the lead service line inventory. And so we met our deadline for the inventory. But part of the requirements is to send out notifications to homeowners indicating whether either the pipe to their house or the pipe from the meter to the main is either lead, galvanized, or unknown. And so we had, I think, about 11,000 letters go out, mostly unknowns. I think we had about 100 galvanized and 4 lead.
Okay.
But we're still working on our inventory, so when we submitted it, there are all these unknowns. Now we're going to work through all these unknowns to have positive identifications, but these letters went out letting residents know what the status was,
Okay.
essentially.
Thank you. Okay. My next question is on page 3 with Hoosier Networks. Break, fix, broken fiber damage on Spicewood Lane. Can you tell me about that, please?
Yeah, I believe we were doing some repairs or upgrades in Spicewood, and we actually did a strike on their assets, so we're paying them for our strike this time, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's another one that has strikes on our lines before, but are things going smoothly with that right now with customers who've had strikes that are, coming to CBU for help when it's, the other utilities error, I guess? I guess, are people complaining about strikes and you're hearing about it? That's my question.
I haven't heard many recently.
I haven't.
Recently?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, not a lot. Matt can kind of comment on how their subcontractor has been paying the bills for incidents they've had on our infrastructure.
Okay,
Yeah, we have been receiving payments, not as fast as I would like to receive them, but they have been coming in, so.
okay. Yes,
And
Amanda?
then a question on that, then why are we paying them if they're not paying us?
They are not, the one that we are paying is not the one that is striking our assets.
Wait,
So
say that again?
the contractor that we're paying is not doing the work that is striking our lines.
Oh, okay, so it's
Right.
so,
Yes,
okay.
correct.
Thank you, that makes sense.
Thank you. And then my final question is on page 7 for West Side Tractor Sales, our repairs to our John Deere 710 backhoe. And that was quite an expense at $63,000. So I looked up what's a new one cost, and it was $288,000. So I know clearly we need to invest in maintaining this equipment. Is this just standard maintenance that's maybe been deferred, or was there an incident? And then at what point do we have insurance that we would turn that in? And yes.
Yeah, so there was an incident with the four-wheel drive locked in, and it caused some major damage to the piece of equipment. And we got I think an insurance check for $53,000 for that, so we had to pay on top of that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. So the $50,000 plus the 63, so 113,000 damage? No,
We
63.
paid the whole
Okay.
cost of it, and then we got a check from the insurance.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Are there any other questions about the standard invoices? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have utility bills in the amount of $81,887.12. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Move.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have wire transfers in the amount of $475,777.63. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, we have customer refunds in the amount of $39,766.72. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yes.
My apologies. I know we see, on the last page of the customer refunds, it says IU. And then it's $32,000. I understand IU's a big place. I think it would be a little, if there would be a way for us to just at least see, like, was this the IU SPIA building? Or was it, School of Business or Woodburn Hall?
I don't know what building.
Is there a way to determine that?
Oh,
or
yeah,
is
yeah,
it for
yeah,
a
for-
particular sector?
For sure. So this one is, I'm not sure exactly what building it is, but it is on 3rd Street. And what happened here is IU has a master meter. And this particular building was not on the master meter, but then they ended up putting it on the master meter, but didn't take our meter off. So they were paying for it when it went through the master, and then when it went through the second meter. So this is the refund of the usage of the second meter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful just for us to know, like, rather than just saying
Yep.
IU, it would be like saying, in, the city of Bloomington.
Sure.
It's, there's a lot of components to it, so I think just in the future, just to,
Fair feedback, sure.
yeah,
So, I've been notified, it's the music school.
thank you.
Yes, Kurt.
I noticed it's a wastewater, we don't meter that, so
That's accounting gymnastics. It's how the system processes it, so we'll have to move it with the journal entry, an accounting entry.
So it really was a water meter.
It was a water meter, but the way that the refunds process, that it always goes to wastewater most of the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know that's how we figure wastewater, but, yeah, okay.
But will it then go back into
We just have to do some.
water
yeah,
funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the customer refunds? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving forward, we have approval of the consent agenda in the amount of $21,200. Catherine Sager.
Good evening, I'm Catherine Sager, Utilities Director. I'm presenting tonight's consent agenda pending controller approval, totaling $21,200. The contract is with Top Notch Services LLC for $21,200 for the tree removal and cleanup at Winston Thomas. The service includes stump grinding and repairs to the surface of the property where needed. Is there any member who wishes to consider one or more of these items individually? Hearing none, if there is no opposition, these items will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, we have a request for approval of agreement for services with Cintas. Matt Havey.
This is we're changing our supplier for our floor mats at all of our locations. We found that the Cintas is much more economical than the company that we're currently using.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Matt? Yes, Kirk.
Kudos on using the quantitative purchase agreement through the state. That's a way we can for sure know we're getting that large mass contract discount, which usually saves municipal governments some pretty good money. So good job to find that, and I encourage you to keep using it where there are QPAs in place. That's always been good practice, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agreement for services with Cintas?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have requests for approval of highway utility agreement for reimbursement of water main relocation for the State Road 45 Arlington Road project. Jane Fleet.
For the record, Jane Fleeg, Utilities Engineer, honoring my father today with one of his favorite ties.
Well, I noticed that, and I like it, so thank you for honoring him.
As stated, this is a request for approval of a highway utility agreement with NDOT. This has to do with the water main relocation for the 45, State Road 45 and Arlington Road ramp project. We already performed through a contractor some of our relocation. The last approximately 150 feet, we were tying back into the existing location, which was about 9 feet farther north than what it was shown on the plans. I notified NDOT of that, and they approved it. So we tied in, and everything was fine. And then they discovered that that project has a retaining wall. It's necessary to have a retaining wall for that project. And it's the type of retaining wall that has tiebacks in it, which now interfere with our water main. That 150 feet that we had already relocated, and then an additional approximately 460 feet is also in conflict with that, with the tiebacks for the wall. This relocation we're going to do ourselves. We prepared an estimate for it. To get the agreement done, and the estimate for the work was about $76,000. NDOT is paying the 150 linear feet portion of that. It's about 26%, I think. So we're looking at a reimbursement of about $20,600. Now that'll be based on final costs. We prepared the estimate, but we'll have to track everything, all of our costs for that work. It's unfortunate, but everything that was designed and assumed was based on the surveyed location of the water main, and I know we have had a lot of trouble locating that water main. Now we have a brand new water main. Most of it will be PVC with a wire on it, so it'll be much easier to locate. But I know we had several difficulties with locating that water main throughout the years. So it is unfortunate, but it is necessary. Our crews are going to do it. I believe that they intend to start 2 weeks from today and get it done in 1 day's time. It's holding up the NDOT project, but we need to get this agreement in place in order to be able to start our work.
Thank you. Questions for Jane? What do we do with the materials that we relocate? I mean, you dig them out of the ground, right?
Not always.
No, okay.
Sometimes we abandon in place. It depends on where they're located. We have often, I don't know that it's been done recently, but a lot of times in city streets, we'll leave those in place and could be used as conduit for some other utility company if necessary. It's happened a few times. This, because of the location of it, I don't know that we'll dig it out, but I don't know that we've fully discussed it. Since it will be in conflict with their tieback straps, they may be tearing it out themselves, but
Okay.
I can look at that. Anything we do take out of the ground, we do recycle.
I didn't know if it was, something like that's not been in place long, if there's a way to reuse it or something, but no.
It's not reusable, but it
Okay.
is recyclable.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
we keep all that stuff that we take out of the ground, any old castings, storm
Mm-hmm.
castings, water castings, ductile iron pipe, so,
Okay.
and that's
thank
what
you.
this is.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have request for approval of the 2025 residential stormwater grants. Elizabeth Carter.
Good evening. I'm Liz Carter. I'm the MS4 Program Coordinator, and I'm coming to you with our stormwater grants that were due in 2024, but will honestly take place in 2025. So this year, we awarded 6 grants totaling just over $56,000. I have a staff memo that breaks them down, but I can certainly talk about each of them if you would like. One of the grants came to this board a few weeks ago just because we had a gentleman who wanted to get started with earth movement in November, so he asked if I could move him along. So these are just the rest of the grants from this year's batch. We did meet in September, the grant review committee, which included 2 members of this board, and we thank both of them for volunteering their afternoon. We ranked these grants and awarded 6 of the 7 that were submitted. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Amanda.
I know you've answered this before, but remind me again how much we budget for this.
So this year, it actually went down because we didn't spend all of it last year. So in 2023, the budgeted item was $100,000. This year, it was $75,000,
Okay.
and we again didn't spend it all. So I don't know what we budgeted for next year, but that was the budget.
Thank you.
Other questions, Kirk?
Yeah, so I noticed one of them, let's see, the one on Laurel Court. That's perimeter drain around a building,
Yes.
but I gotta, help me figure out how that's connected to our standard stormwater system that is shared, in the normal swales and things like that.
Right, so we have a lady that owns a condo on Laurel Court that her condo keeps flooding. So her request was to do a perimeter drain. We had plenty of money left in our budget, so while it did not rank the highest of the grant requests that we got, we had the money to cover it, so the committee decided to go ahead and fund it.
So we're replacing a perimeter drain around a building,
We're creating a perimeter drain,
or we're creating it.
yes,
And-
which, yeah.
Downspouts that connect as well, but they don't connect to the perimeter drain. But if there's a swale through there that's causing backup, that's one thing.
So,
But if it's downspouts that should have been installed and run out of the property appropriately, that's on the line for me.
yeah, it is on the line, and we did talk about that as a committee. I will say the swale that's supposed to serve these condos is in common area, which is controlled by an HOA. So this lady doesn't have the opportunity to fix the swale outside of her house because it's up to her HOA to do that. They did receive a permit to address the swale a few years back from the planning department. I was in the planning department at the time. And the planning department's been following up to see if this swale work was completed, if the grading that they had proposed had helped at all. This lady says it has not, but again, changing the topography outside of her condo is not an option for her because she only owns the little footprint around her condo and nothing else.
So do we think then that this is gonna solve a larger problem? Because it sounds like we've got the storm drainage that should be in a swale that drains. But if we're handling this more of a separate building problem, what we need to be doing, I would think here, is solve the larger swale problem for the neighborhood.
Sure. We don't yet have a program to address larger problems for HOAs or neighborhoods. It's something that we're talking about. But that, that's what the residential stormwater grant has been. It's often for one property. Of the 6 grants that we awarded, only one of them even included 2 properties. The rest were literally for one property at a time. So, and I think when this grant program started, we had a lot more, multi-property kind of, bigger projects. And it seems like the folks that are going to apply for those have. And we're kind of getting down to like individual 1 and 2, and that's why we're starting to think about what we want to do in the future, because maybe it's not this exactly.
I think it's, we're in the right place when we've got a swale through a neighborhood that's not draining like it should. That's a public utilities problem. And I'm all about fixing those.
Absolutely. The challenge is that a lot of the swales are privately owned, so it is the HOAs, it's under their prerogative to fix it. And then if we start opening this program up to every person with a swale or a pipe that's on common area in their neighborhood, we're gonna have a lot of requests.
That's kind of where I'm headed with
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, we're thinking about it.
Okay.
Well, the HOA could have come forward and done the grant as an HOA though, correct? No?
The way that the residential stormwater grant has been since before I was here is that it has to be single-family homeowner and it has to be owner-occupied. That has been our criteria this whole time. So we have turned away HOAs in the past, but like I said, we're thinking about how we want to do that differently.
Okay. And I don't mean to like drive this home, because this is not the point of it, but to me, I guess, like, I live in an HOA and I'm owner occupied, and so if my HOA applied for my owner occupied neighborhood or a few residents, like, I feel like that could have qualified, I guess, is what I'm saying, but fine if we're gonna restructure it anyway. Yeah, like representing my need through that, but I understand
Right.
you're gonna think
Well,
about restructuring, so I don't wanna spend the
Sure.
time on that.
We did have a couple last year where there is an HOA that exists, but we had like a swale that ran through 4 people's backyards. And they got together and they submitted a grant, and we awarded it because it was all on their private property.
Okay.
But once we get into awarding grants for like property that is owned and maintained by the HOA, in the past it has been, that's the HOA's responsibility to
Okay.
maintain that, and it's kind of a slippery slope
Okay.
from, single homeowners to HOAs to businesses, and then it's kind of
Yeah.
open to everybody, so.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. Jim?
Yeah, I have a question about the 1101 South Madison.
Yes.
Our daughter lived there until last December, I believe,
Okay.
and the water was pooling a lot in the street.
Okay.
And they fixed that. And in fixing it, did they cause the water to then pool in front of the house?
Based on the narrative by the grant applicant, it seems, yes, that is what happened. She reported that she's having 3 to 4 inches of water standing in the driveway in her front lawn over 72 hours after a rain event, and so she's seeking to build a rain garden there so that the amended soils and the plants will absorb that water, so she doesn't have standing water and mosquitoes. So I don't know for sure. I don't want to say for sure that's what happened, but it seems like, yes, that may have been.
So it seems
We moved the problem.
if the city did that and moved the problem, the city should be responsible for fixing it, rather than a grant and having the neighbor fix it, but.
That'd be a public works
Yes,
issue as
yeah.
opposed to utilities.
Yes, but I'm just saying that I don't know that we should put the burden
Oh,
on,
it's not property owner, it's just another city department.
yeah,
Good point.
okay.
What a coincidence that you knew that property. Yeah. Okay.
It's not that big a town, is it?
I know, but still. Okay, well, thank you for those comments, Amanda.
And I know, I just like for the record, I know, in looking up all of these addresses, they are primarily on the south side of town in a very clumped area. I know that the group has reached out several different opportunities to, other neighborhoods and ways of advertising it. And I just wanted, just for the record, so that you guys have tried multiple different things to get this outreach a little further, and it's been 2 or 3 years going, that we're just not seeing the applicants coming in, even with our outreach. So we are continuing to see the grants program going to, particular areas of town, so.
Right. And we changed we kind of updated the criteria last year to take things like equity into consideration. But, at the end of the day, we didn't spend all of our money last year, and we didn't again this year. So, it's not like we're picking certain grants and leaving others out,
Right.
so that, in a way that reflects our, our mission, but we're not even spending all of it. So despite our outreach efforts, as you said.
And and again, for just as a comparative thing, I'm in a service sorority in town, and we have scholarships that are available to students. We go through the schools, through the counselors, through numerous different options to give money away, and we'll get 6 applicants. So it's just, I think, a product of, sometimes people just don't want to take the time to do it. So I commend you guys for the work that you've done in the committee, and thanks for, working through all of these and offering this to individuals in our community.
I'll echo Amanda's sentiments and thank you and the committee and your team for your work with meeting with the residents before the grant cycle, opened, and taking questions and fielding questions as the applicants are filling out their applications and taking the time to review. And, you had answers to all these questions that were asked this evening, and, we appreciate the recommendation of the committee. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So, if there are no other questions, do we have a motion to approve the 2025 residential stormwater grants?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have request for approval of amendment of 2024 salary ordinance 23-25 for appointed officers, non-union, and AFSCME employees. Chris Wheeler. Oh, hello.
Hi, sorry, I'm not
right.
Chris Wheeler. I'm sorry about that. My name's Audrey Birmingham. I am an assistant city attorney. I'm the HR. I represent the HR department. And so I am here for a sort of strange request, but it's just all we need is a vote for approval on this. I will say in the memo that this says that that the $500 arose out of negotiations between AFSCME and the city. I did find out on Wednesday, after I sent this memo, that I was incorrect in that. That essentially what happened is that fire and police were able to renegotiate their contracts with the city last year, and the administration wanted to sort of just say thank you and appreciate the AFSCME employees since their contract wasn't open and renegotiated last year. So this is just a flat one-time $500 bonus. It has not, the collective bargaining agreement was not opened, it was not amended, so this isn't in there. It's just a request for AFSCME employees from the administration to receive a $500 bonus. Per Indiana State Code, the Utility Service Board has to approve any changes in salary to their employees, and a lot of their employees are AFSCME employees. So we're just here asking for a vote of approval for the $500 bonus. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Yes, questions, Kirk?
Yeah, so this would be payable in '24 for the end of the year?
Yes, that is correct.
So then what's the total fiscal impact of the award? And did we budget for it in '24?
For us, it's around $50,000. It was not in the budget as we were not aware of this happening back last August when we were doing the budget. We can find the money, we'll just have to watch what we spend for the rest of the year.
Yes, we determined that we were able to find the money before agreeing to bring this here, if that's what you're asking. Like, yes, we can afford to do this before the end of the year.
So we found savings someplace else in order to fulfill this commitment,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, Amanda?
My question, so I know we're city and their city is us and all that, but when this is City of Bloomington and city, AFSCME. Is City of Bloomington CBU or is City of Bloomington, City of Bloomington? Does that make sense?
I think it does. So let me see if I'm answering this
Okay.
correctly, and if it's not right, then please, then you can clarify. So, the city of Bloomington is giving, wants to give all of the AFSCME employees a $500 bonus. Some AFSCME employees with the city of Bloomington are in the utilities, are in CBU. Some of the AFSCME employees are elsewhere, like in public works and
Okay.
things. And so CBU is only covering the $500 bonus for their AFSCME employees. The other AFSCME employees in like the public works departments and things like that, those other departments from their budget are paying the $500 bonus for their employees, for their AFSCME employees.
Yes,
Okay.
that answers my question.
Gotcha.
So basically, it's something that the city has decided to do, and all the departments from within are helping to cover that. So-
That is correct.
Okay, within their budgets.
Yes.
Is there an anticipation that this is gonna happen again in next year's budget that we need to be planning for, or?
That is a great question. I can try to find out and get that answer back to Kat. My understanding is that this is something that the administration wanted to do, and so I think that question would be best directed at the office of the mayor and the administration to find out if they intend to do the same thing
Yeah,
next
and again,
year.
if they do, great, we just need to know
Sure.
for budgeting purposes.
No, that
And-
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And also, if it's not going to happen, employees don't say, why didn't I get my $500 at the end of the year? So, I mean, I just want to make sure it is crystal clear with our employees, but then also with our planning team. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question. So I see on here that it'll go to, if we approve it today, it'll go to city council on the 4th, and then for a second reading and a vote on the 11th. When would this be reflected in the paychecks of our AFSCME members?
It's my understanding that this would be reflected at the very end of the year or at the first week of January, depending on the pay, depending on the controller and when the pay periods fall.
Okay.
So either the last pay period of December or the first pay period of January is my current understanding of when this will go out per the controller's department.
Okay, thank you, Amanda.
Are employees taxed on this, or is this considered?
This is a taxable bonus to the employee, but
Okay.
it is not included in overtime calculations.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the amendment to the 2024 salary ordinance?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Do we have any old business from the board? Old business from staff?
No.
New business from the board? New business from staff? No. Okay. Subcommittee reports. There were no subcommittees. We did have a bid opening today with 2 bids for the Dillman wastewater treatment plant site safety and process improvements. And we'll have a report at our next meeting, likely with a request for approval. Staff reports.
Yeah, the only staff report is that our annual CBU holiday lunch starts at 11 and ends at 1 on this Wednesday, and the board is invited to attend.
Thank you. All right, are there any petitions or communications from anybody? All right, well, hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn? All right, well, everyone have a good, safe, warm evening. We'll see you on the 16th.